Joining us now is Democratic Senator Angela Alsobrooks from Maryland. She's a member of the Senate Help Committee. Lots of ground to cover. Let's start with free speech. We heard President Trump in that news conference talk about Jimmy Kimmel's show being pulled from the air, slamming him as not having talent. Between that and what we heard from the FCC chair this morning, and they're not even trying to subtly influence media companies right now. It's blatant. Are you surprised they're doing this all out in the open?
Well, you know what? I'm not surprised because the FCC chair was one of the authors of Project 25. And what we know is that this is a 5-alarm fire. And I hope that every American watching understands clearly what we are seeing. The First Amendment in our country is sacrosanct. It is the basis of our country. And having the right to freely speak is a basic right. It is not partisan either. It is not partisan. But this is a 5-alarm fire. It is deeply concerning to me and ought to be to every single person watching the perilous course that we are on. We didn't have to agree with what Jimmy Kimmel said, but we have a right in this country to speak freely. And having the government sanction what we say, to censor what we say, to control what we say is a very dangerous precedent. This is a 5-alarm fire.
Something else that was touched on during that news conference was what appears to be a broader crackdown here at home. The president saying he's designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. What questions do you have about that?
Well, you know, that one, to be honest with you, I hadn't heard that bit of news. We're in an environment now where the news is evolving by the second. But again, going back to what you have mentioned, saying that free speech is very important to our country. And making sure that we are not rolling back the constitutional rights that we all have in this country is really important.
Yeah, let's talk about this bigger picture about how the Trump administration appears to be going after its critics. The White House has applied pressure on a slew of media companies. Stephen Miller said the DOJ will now look into which liberal groups and NGOs are, quote, paying for violence, as he described it. What impact does this have on America's democratic system?
Well, our democratic system is under attack right now. It really is. And this witch hunt that we have seen everywhere, from the firing of the federal employees, the removal of scientists at HHS who disagree with the secretary there, the undoing of the public health system in our country. We now are seeing that we are the more difficult access for children to vaccinations and for those who need a distrust of science and scientists. This, again, is a very perilous course that we're on. And this witch hunt to remove and punish enemies, to silence people, is one that our country will pay for decades to come. And again, it is a 5-alarm fire. I am deeply concerned about it. It is deeply un-American at its core. And again, it goes against the constitutional principles upon which our country was built. And it not only harms us here domestically, but it harms us internationally. Harms our reputation, harms us as a strength and a power, and as a moral country. I think that we ought to really be concerned about punishing and the vindictiveness that we are seeing, and the cruelty is, I think, going to mark our country. I am concerned for generations to come.
You keep calling it a 5-alarm fire. What is it specifically you're most concerned about?
Well, you know what? Let us count the ways. I'm concerned that when we think about the public health system being dismantled, that we're going to see a resurgence of diseases that we have long eliminated. The measles that will kill our children, hepatitis. We have this quack guy, Aaron Siri, who HHS Secretary Kennedy, who wants to eliminate the polio vaccine. These are people who are being given credibility, and I think we'll see a resurgence of illness and death. When we talk about free speech, I think, again, we have to be very careful when we talk about really eliminating the First Amendment right that we enjoy, how it will really make us fall as a democratic superpower in the world. And again, hurts us not only domestically, divides us, but it makes us less safe here and makes us less safe across the world.
I do want to ask you about that hearing you were a part of yesterday with the former CDC director and the former chief medical officer. When you asked about Secretary Kennedy's leadership at HHS, Dr. Howery, the former chief medical officer, said she thought he should resign. Did that hearing move the needle among your Republican colleagues at all related to Kennedy's leadership?
Well, I hope it has. I've been calling for Secretary Kennedy to be fired or resign. I don't care which one, whichever comes first, for months now. And we see that by day, the damage that he's doing to our health system is increasing. We now see that Dr. Howery and, of course, the former director of CDC, Dr. Monterez, who, by the way, the panel of senators who confirmed her said she was unimpeachable in her credibility. She came out and said that she was forced, that she was urged to agree with vaccine recommendations without seeing them, and that she believes that people are going to get sick and going to die because of the direction that the secretary has taken us. And so, both of them together, and this is a Republican who has said this. So I hope that my colleagues on the other end of the aisle will do more than express concerns about the dangerous rhetoric, the firing of scientists, the sowing distrust, causing parents to distrust the health system in our country. I hope they do more than say how concerned they are about it. This is time for us to act. It is not a partisan issue. Children dying is not a partisan issue. Dying of measles, of hepatitis, of polio, of diseases that they should not be sick or die from. This is not partisan. This is a basic moral issue, and it is one that we all must act against.
Senator Angela Alsobrooks, great to have you with us. Thank you very much for taking the time.